Hello everyone, how are you today? So I have lots of updates for you. Lots of things have been changing recently, and so I definitely want to talk about coronavirus and what you can do to protect yourself, what some of the new regulations are, what's going on, just some reasonable things. Now, one thing I want to share is that stress lowers your immune system. So do not freak out about this. Just stay calm. Stress lowers your immune system. You want to make sure that you are, breathing through this process. And there are definitely steps that we can take. It's not something to, take lightly. For sure, there are steps that you can be proactive about this. And so that's what I want to talk about today. I just want to make sure that, we approach it with a reasonable, calm approach, because there's no reason to panic, and that only hinders our ability to heal. It does not help us. But there are a lot of reasonable steps that we can do to take precautions, because it is something for sure that is worrying more people, that is hurting more people, and that we do need to be more conscientious about. So most of you know that last night the president went live from the Oval Office and made an announcement that he is putting travel bans to and from Europe. So a couple things that affects directly in my life. This coming Sunday, we were having an exchange student come to live with us for about a week and a half. Hi, Melanie. Hi, Jamie. And guys, if you have questions while I'm talking that you want me to address, please comment below. But hi, Cheyenne. So we were going to have a German exchange student actually come on Sunday and live with us. So, it's only a few days away, and we literally just replaced our carpets in our house because we were hoping to be in our new house, and that didn't work. So we replaced the carpet in our current house to at least freshen the place up. And she's not coming anymore because, that's not going to work out. So they're hoping that they can come in the fall, but that has been canceled. So that's a major disruption. My mom, my dad, and myself were planning on going to Prague and Vienna for 9 days. We were actually going to leave 2 weeks from today. And as of last night, that has been canceled as well. So that's a major disruption. And I was already going to be taking precautions on the flights and with traveling and immune system and all that kind of stuff. However, it's canceled. So there's no, it's not even an option at this point. Patrick and Keegan were going to go to Japan on a school trip for spring break. They decided not to go before the travel ban because Patrick's work had come out with some guidelines saying that if you do go, you have to self-quarantine for 2 weeks when you get home, and that was just not viable for Patrick to do. He would then be gone for like 3.5 weeks from work. So all of our travel plans are off, the German exchange student, us, all of that kind of stuff. Oh, thanks, Melanie. That's so nice. It's growing out. So a couple things I want to just kind of encourage you. Like you said, it's not something to laugh at. It is something to take seriously. However, we do want to put it into perspective, right? So it has been labeled a pandemic, but, just when you are, I just want you to come at things with a kind of a big, broad world perspective in terms of, for example, what else is a pandemic? Obesity is a pandemic, and nobody's, making fast food illegal, right? But it's associated with every disease in the books that kills you, right? And inflammation, all this kind of stuff. So like I said, coronavirus is not something to take lightly, but you do want to look at it in perspective. Some numbers that are actually really encouraging in terms of the likelihood of contracting it are, and this is still developing, so this can change. I'm not saying this is the end all be all. Nobody's going to get it and everybody's going to be fine. However, South Korea, who has been very, very, very proactive, they're like mandatory testing their population and all this kind of stuff, can give us some numbers that are actually pretty encouraging. So they have been testing a lot of their population, and there are thousands of individuals that have it. However, most of them that have it either don't know that they have it, or it's a very mild cough, type low grade symptoms. So it's not something that either they're unaware of, or it's not really impacting their life tremendously at this point. When they take the number of people that they've tested and compare it to the number of people that are sick and then the number of people that are dying, the death rate in South Korea is 0.0002%. So far, based on the numbers that I've seen, based on the widespread testing that they've done, those are in terms of like right now. Now, we don't know who is sick now that may die in the future, may get worse. Obviously, those numbers have to play out over time. But currently, the number of people that are getting tested, and the number of people are sick, and the number of people that are dying, South Korea has the most widespread, largest numbers to actually get those. And the death rate is 0.0002%. So I just want to encourage you. Now, that's still too many people, right? Of course it is. We don't want elderly people in nursing homes passing away. Obviously, it's been reiterated that people with low immune systems, people that have underlying medical conditions, people that are elderly are the most susceptible. And so, of course, we want to protect those people. We're not taking their lives lightly. But, it is important if you are a healthy young individual, these numbers are encouraging so that you don't, go out and buy all the toilet paper. So we're going to talk about that in just a second. You do want to be safe about it, right? So normal precautions that you're hearing. I love all the memes that are going around that are saying, I washed my hands with soap and water before it was cool. But I was listening to a podcast today that was just going through basic numbers of people that are in public places that don't wash their hands. Don't be an idiot, you guys. Wash your hands. You should always wash your hands. Now, you don't have to be slathering, antibacterial stuff on your hands all day, every day throughout the year, but you should always use soap and water every single day. Anytime you're in a public place, you should be really religious about it. And the other thing with viruses is that they're transferred through water droplets, right? So when people are sneezing, coughing, breathing, that sort of thing, if you're in close proximity or you touch a surface where it hasn't died yet and then you touch your face, okay? So don't touch your face. This is common sense stuff. However, we saw that video with a lady from the CDC saying don't touch your face, and then she licks her finger to turn the page, right? So it's harder than we think it is. You have to be very conscientious about not touching your face, okay? So these are habits that have to be broken, right? So we touch our hair, we rub our noses, we sit here like this, we're touching our face, right? Obviously, it's more important when you're out in public than it is in your own home where you're clean, all this kind of stuff. So those are precautions to take. Obviously, a lot of public places are public events are being canceled, travel is being canceled. But some things that you may even want to do at home or when you go grocery shopping and come home, that sort of thing, is use essential oils. So what you have control over is your personal environment, right? So what you put in your mouth, what your home environment is, what your air is, that sort of thing, how much you wash your hands, how much you touch your face. So control all of those things. So first of all, what we put in our mouth, right, our immune system primarily lies, about 70% of it lies in our gut. So you don't want to be eating things that are causing inflammation in your gut, because if you're causing a lot of inflammation, Sammy says, meanwhile, my contact is stuck in my eye, I'm doomed. That's not good. Wash your hands with soap for 30 seconds and then try to take it out. So 70% of your immune system lies in your gut. So if you're eating things that are inflammatory like gluten and dairy and sugar on a daily basis and you're causing this damage to your gut lining, well, your immune system is going to be activated. You don't want to do that right now. You want to protect we don't want to do it ever, but you want to protect your immune system or your gut lining so that your immune system isn't activated by stupid stuff and that it has that's within your control, so it's stupid. You want it to have the oomph that it needs when it's hit by something like a virus. And then you want to make sure that you're actively feeding the good beneficial bacteria, because opportunistic bacteria are what increase, during things like a bacterial infection, like a virus, that sort of thing. So you want to make sure that you are eating things that feed the good bacteria. So that's things like prebiotics, like fibrous vegetables, and that's things like probiotics, so things like sauerkraut, or maybe taking a probiotic, especially if you feel nauseous, if you feel any gurgling in your stomach, if you feel any tummy issues, make sure you're eating those foods. And, go a little heavier on it than normal. The second thing you can do, obviously, controlling your environment. So I diffuse essential oils a lot. People will say they're woo-woo, whatever. I don't care. I've looked at the studies. There are studies that show that certain essential oils like clove and eucalyptus and tea tree are antiviral. You can literally spray them in the air and they will have an impact on the germs and the microbes around you. So things like thieves oil, if you do a specific brand, or you can mix different oils yourself and create things. Now, obviously people are freaking out, and there's a lot of shortages in things like hand sanitizer. So if you want to make your own, the important thing to know with this virus is that alcohol is being effective against it. So you want really pure alcohol or rubbing alcohol or whatever it is. And you want, if you're making your own air spray, if you're making your own hand sanitizer, whatever you're making, you want it to be 60 to 80% alcohol. I would err on the higher side just to be safe. So when I was planning on traveling, I got a bunch of wipes that were alcohol based. I got spray, I got all this kind of stuff. So you want to make sure that it is alcohol based tea tree, especially, yep, it's very microbial or whatever. And I think antiviral specifically, actually. So you can diffuse these. So if you have individual like tea tree, eucalyptus, clove, those sorts of oils, you can mix them, or you can get a blend and you can diffuse them in your home. It'll actually purify your air. You can create hand sanitizer. If you're doing the hand sanitizer, you want like 80% alcohol. You can put some aloe in there to make it a little more gentle, and you can put in those drops. You can do, I'm trying to think, wipes. I mean, I got Thieves wipes instead of Clorox wipes for my travels, but that's not really an issue anymore. And then again, if you're going out, you want to make sure that you're washing your hands religiously when you're out in public. Oh, it disconnected and then connected. Are you still there? Okay, so a couple other things you can do. Supplementing, obviously. So everybody's like, well, what can I do to boost my immune system? Well, this is something obviously we should be working on all year long, right? It's kind of like brushing your teeth right before you go to the dentist. You don't want to do that. They can tell, right? So all the efforts that you're going to put in now, yes, absolutely, they're going to be helpful. However, this should be a priority for you every single day of the year, so that when something like this happens, you know that you're good to go. So I was talking about this with my husband the other day. We are so afraid of getting acute sicknesses that we're actually causing chronic diseases in our country. Our bodies are designed to get sick periodically so that it boosts our natural immunity and our innate immunity, and it actually becomes lifelong immunity for these different diseases. So if you never, ever get sick as a child or as an adult, you're not going to build that up, and you're more likely to get diseases, right? So playing in the dirt and, getting a cold here and there, those are all beneficial things. But we don't want to, be totally miserable, and we want to support our body's natural defense systems with things like probiotics, like vitamin D, like vitamin C, things that are naturally supportive to our body's innate ability to fight off infection. So with vitamin C specifically, there are several ways that you can support your body. You can use a powder or a tablet. You can use a liposomal vitamin, or if you are feeling like you are getting sick or you have the flu, you can actually go to get a vitamin C IV. Now, you probably will need to have a relationship with a naturopathic physician before you do this. I've been set up with one in Westchester for a long time, so I go and I get I'll just choose when I want to do it. I'll go get vitamin IVs all the time, or maybe it'll be specifically a vitamin C IV. I'm going to go get one of those next week. So you do need to have a relationship with a clinic that does this, that offers that, but look for it in your area, especially if you're concerned, if you have a lower immune system, if you really, really, really want that boost. Vitamin C is antiviral when it's done in the IVs, but it's also like a major antioxidant. One of the problems with these viruses is not just the virus itself, right? It's like what it does in your body, and it causes a lot of oxidative stress, which becomes a trickle effect for all these other things. And so having the vitamin C IVs actually that has the opposite effect. It counteracts that oxidation with a high antioxidant effect in your body, and helps your body with fighting the microbes and fighting the viruses and things like that. So it's very, very supportive. There are actually clinical trials going on right now to observe vitamin C IVs actually to treat coronavirus, and there are some case studies and anecdotals stories that are showing that it does seem to be effective to help those that actually have the virus, and to protect those who have been exposed to those people from getting the symptoms themselves. So you can always get an IV if you have access to it. Otherwise, I would start dosing up on regular vitamin C. You can do this liposomally, which is a liquid that goes under your tongue. That way, it also gets into your bloodstream as opposed to going through your digestive system, and it doesn't give you any digestive distress. So if you are somebody that has taken a lot of vitamin C pills and you're like, it upsets my stomach, you might want to go for one of those options. But if you do the pill option, you can still do it safely if you start before food. Make sure that your food is light throughout the day, so you're not going to get bloated because of the vitamin C kind of grabbing everything. And if you want to get up to what's called bowel tolerance with pill forms, you're going to experience some gurgling and then a vitamin C diarrhea. Now, it's going to take, the sicker you are or the more oxidative stress you have, it's going to take a higher dose. So for some people, it may only take like 8 to 10 grams of vitamin C and they have vitamin C diarrhea and they flush out. For other people, it may take longer. It depends on what's going on in your body. So those are some things to consider. Maybe talk with a practitioner about, if you're considering doing that. But even if you're just doing a lower kind of normal dose, it's a good thing to start thinking about and start incorporating into your day as a supportive, as a preventative measure. Vitamin D is also super, super important. So a lot of people are, that get sick or have lowered immune systems have chronically low vitamin D. Now, where we live, it's very difficult to get vitamin D naturally from the sun, although that is the absolute best way, because kind of like a whole food versus a vitamin, you get a lot of different effects that we don't quite understand that are different from taking a vitamin D3 supplement. So when possible, you want to get it from the sun. I'm going to tell you a controversial hack that I do. I have a genetic issue with creating enough vitamin D. I supplemented with vitamin D for over a year. My levels were still low. I increased my dose, but now I also try to get to the tanning bed a couple times a week for about 6 minutes to get the UV rays to make my body naturally produce it. That's a whole other conversation. You have to make sure you're doing what's right for you. You have to make sure you're doing it in a very, very safe way. But that is something that I've personally chosen to do to increase my vitamin D3 levels and help my body keep them up naturally and get it in a way that is in addition to the supplementation that I do. So if you know that you've had blood work and your vitamin D3 levels are low, that's definitely a concern during cold and flu season, or if you're feeling sick, or if you want to increase your immune system, you've got to have sufficient levels of vitamin D3. If you live in a place that is warm enough to get outside, you want at least 15 minutes of on the skin exposure every single day that you can get it. Let's see what else. There's something else I was going to share with you. Selenium. Selenium deficiency has been connected to viruses. So if you are getting sick from a viral load, that has been associated with selenium deficiency. Brazil nuts are one of the leading foods, top foods that you can get selenium from naturally. All you need, and don't go overboard with this because you don't need to, all you need is to eat 2 to 4 Brazil nuts a day, and you're going to get sufficient selenium doses. Let me see if I can read this quote, this comment here. I just started taking a liquid form of vitamin D. Mine was critically low. Need to reschedule my call with you and send you my blood. Oh, I love blood work. Yes. And there's lots of different forms and things like that. Obviously, like I said, the sun is the best, but when we have to supplement, I supplement every single day with vitamin D now, especially having a history of cancer. It's critically important for me to keep my levels up, so I will do whatever it takes. So eat those Brazil nuts 2 to 4 a day. They don't have to be organic. I looked this up. They can only grow in pristine, rainforest or whatever. So there's no need to spend extra on organic. If you see a bag of Brazil nuts, grab it, eat 2 to 4 a day. You're going to increase your selenium and therefore support your body against viruses. Biocidin is one of my absolute favorite supplements that I use with all my clients. You've probably seen me talk about it before. It is antiviral. It is antimicrobial in a good way, not like an antibiotic. It's not going to kill all the bad or good guys, only the bad guys. And it is extremely supportive. It actually has been shown to increase sections of your immune system within about 10 minutes of taking it. So it's very, very, very supportive for situations like this. Just even as a preventative or protective measure, if you feel like you're going to be around people, if you feel like you're starting to get sick, it's something really beneficial. I encourage people to keep it in their medicine cabinet because it can only help you in situations like this. Now, again, none of this is a cure-all. Everybody's life is different. Everybody's immune system is different. Everybody's medical history is different. And so some people are more or less susceptible, but these are all things that are reasonable, that are within your control, that are things that you can do to at least support your body. And like I said, a lot of people that are getting it are not noticing a lot of the side effects. So if you have a good immune system, you're taking precautions like this, you may even get a virus and not even recognize it or be able to fight it really, really quickly. So a couple things in terms of planning ahead. So here's the deal, you guys. It was labeled yesterday officially as a pandemic. It was, travel has been banned to Europe and some other places in the world. So whether or not you are personally, worried or stressed or anxious about it, or feel like you're safe in your city because it hasn't come there or not, doesn't really matter at this point, because other people are nervous about it, right? So whether or not you want to be somebody that starts stocking up on stuff, and I get it, because you're like, I don't want to feed into the fear, I just want to live my life and kind of take things as they are, I get it. However, because so many other people are buying things ahead of time and things like that, it kind of becomes a non-option for you, because by the time you run out of something and you have to go get it at the grocery store, other people are going to have bought it. So for example, toilet paper is becoming a thing right now where you can't find it. So here are some things that you can do to just be reasonable. You don't have to go buy a 6-month stock of everything. But as this is currently in a place where it's escalating and not de-escalating in the States, you do want to be smart about what you have in your home. So think about things like feminine products. Maybe you get 1 or 2 months worth, just to make sure that whatever happens, if you're somehow not getting access to them in, a couple weeks, that you have a couple boxes in your home. 1 to 3 months of cat or dog or animal food. So things that if there is any sort of situation where you're not able to go out in public, maybe certain companies are shutting down or taking breaks or doing a 2-week quarantine or whatever it is that ends up possibly maybe happening. If you have these things in your home, your pets are not going to have to suffer for it. So we did go ahead and buy some extra animal food recently. Things that are reasonable for you to stock up on would be things like frozen meat. So you can order a couple boxes of Butcher Box or something like that. High quality meats, store them in your freezer. If something happens, you have easy access to food for several weeks to several months. Same thing with frozen vegetables, things that are easy to keep, that are healthy for you, stocking up on a couple weeks of this stuff is not going to, overflow your freezer or anything, but it should give you some sense of calm. And then, of course, especially talking to my clients, any supplements that you depend on and that you need, you may want to get 2 or 3 refills of, just because we don't know what's going to happen. I'm not saying that this is, something that is, if you're a really healthy individual, you should be totally afraid of. But this is what's happening in the world right now. It's only wise to respond accordingly and to be prepared. It doesn't mean you have to freak out. You can do it in a very calm way. But this is the reality. People are buying a lot of toilet paper, and if you have plenty now, you might want to go shopping in 2 weeks and then it's gone. So just think these thoughts. Think what you can calmly collect and prepare for in your own home. And then if you are immune compromised, make sure you're talking to your doctors about how much you should be going out, if at all. Make sure you are doing things like getting the alcohol-based hand sanitizers. Make sure that you are looking into things like vitamin C IVs to really support your body's ability to fight off infection, and those sorts of things. So I hope that this was encouraging. I definitely don't want to freak anyone out. It is becoming, regardless of how we feel about it or don't feel about it, it is becoming life disruptive. And because of that, it's something that we need to respond to and think through and talk about. If you guys have any other questions about it, I'm absolutely happy to continue the conversation. But I hope this has given you a little bit of stuff to think about and some things to maybe take action on. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day. Stay safe and stay healthy.